morning. My name is Amy and welcome to Harpy Stitch, my corner of YouTube all about cross stitch. Today is Monday, May 26th. It is Memorial Day here in the US, so I delayed filming one day so that I could share a little bit more of my stitching with you this week. School is almost over. We just have this week with students 4 days, and then I have a half day the Monday after to finalize grades and such. The first week after will be very busy. I have my first therapy appointment in a long time. We'll see how long I can keep going. Money, 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 right? There's also a curriculum writing meeting the same day. There's a meeting about targeted services, which is just their fancy way of saying summer school. So I'll find out what exactly my schedule is going to be, what room I'll be in, etc. I am moving rooms next year, so I will still be teaching science at the high school, but I will be closer to my other earth science teammates, hopefully on the same floor as them, because I won't have a science lab. I'll just have a regular classroom. So that means that on days that my class needs the labs that are messier, we will literally have to switch classrooms because you don't want to do labs on carpet or over carpet. I will also be doing a mini class that'll give me a credential for the current district. It'll give me a little bump in pay. It'll count as a college credit. I'm one college hour short of moving up on the pay scale. So I already got it approved. I just have to, I got enrolled in the class and now I just have to take it. So I'm hoping that this week I can get all my grading done or over the weekend, and then that Monday when I have to be physically in the building, I will finish up whatever little room cleaning I have and start on my little class, because it's only supposed to take about 15 hours. I'll submit it, they'll grade it, I'll send in my certification to the district, or the certificate, and then they will backdate me the pay till the date on the certificate. So it is a significant pay increase, and I didn't have to pay for the class, which is even better. I am going to try to go to a science teacher conference next year. Got to fill out the paperwork for that. I am terrified about going back to school. I'm already so busy, my mental bandwidth low. I'm afraid of the finances with everything going on in the US right now. They're talking about docking people's Social Security benefits if they don't pay their student loans. And right now the law is set up that if you're in school, your student loan payments you're not expected to pay them. And your interest rate's supposed to freeze, but who knows how long that will last. So going back to school is terrifying on multiple levels, but at the same time, going back to school is one of the things that let me return, and I don't have to do a job hunt this summer. So I've got to figure out how to do it. I also might need to enroll in the tech college here in town, because the classes that I'm taking are actually bachelor degree level classes for like a new teacher, young person, and they don't have it set up for people who are already working full-time as teachers. So that means a lot of the classes that I need at the main campus are during the school day, which doesn't work. I can't take off that many days, right? So my advisor recommended I do the technical college here in town, because some of those should transfer. She gave me a website where I can double check. I can also check St. Cloud and the Minnesota Department of Education to make sure those classes would count. Also, they're much cheaper at the technical college. So I got to figure all that out. I got to apply for grants. I got to see if I can find some resources. I am seriously debating doing some sort of GoFundMe. I don't know. The financial part of this is terrifying. I love learning, don't get me wrong, but I am struggling with the finance piece. And since I already have a master's degree, it's actually harder to get funding. And for the fall, a lot of the things that I could have possibly applied for have already had their deadlines. I did reach out to the college counselor person at my school. They usually help the kids, but I was like, hey, you're here. Can you help a teacher too? And he's like, sure. I'm still waiting to get him to get back to me on what he found. So very busy as always. Played Deadlands with the kid, the in-law, and one of our friends last night. It was a fun game. We're doing a cattle drive. So, life is hectic, life is stressful. I'm probably a little bit more focused on that right now because I just saw a post that is terrifying and I don't know what to do about it, and I don't know if there's anything we can do about it. So, I'm trying not to let it get to me, and I'm going to try to hide in my stitching as I've been doing. So I have a ton of new starts for you this week. It is almost the end of May Mayhem. I have 2 more starts for the month. I'm having to replan one of them because the Kaiju Calvin, I had made it years ago on PC Stitch Pro, years and years ago, and the drive that I had the pattern on, it went dead, the computer, the drive, whatever it is. And so I lost it, and I had it all printed out, but I was missing like 6 pages. Plus it was a bit splotchy on Calvin's skin because it's a watercolor. So we were trying to set that up. My husband tried cleaning the image up in Photoshop and then importing it, and it was still terrible. And I was like, I think we're just going to need to get wind stitch. So that is on our list of things to do, is to get wind stitch. Because if we're going to start designing patterns, we need wind stitch. And it is not as expensive as I feared it would be, but if I want to get all the little extras like access to all the updates and a few things like that, then it's going to be a little bit pricier. I think, I don't know if it'll be cheaper to get all of the little add-ons at the same time, or if it's the same price all the time. I know there's a collection of Lord Libidin fonts. There's, you pay like $20 and you get all the updates no matter how long they've had it. I don't know, so many things. And so, lots to think about. I'm a little overwhelmed at the moment, if you can't tell. But the weather's gotten nice. It's warmed up a bit. Yesterday was in the 70s. It's supposed to be that again today. It's a bit, I'm not going to say cloudy, but it's a bit gray outside right now. Sun is up, but I think we've got a little, hit the tripod with my foot when I was stretching. We've got a little bit of cloud cover right now. It's not like super stormy or anything, but definitely a little gray on the outside. So let's get to my new starts this week. I have quite a bit of them for you. So first is this kit that someone gave me. I thought I had inherited from my grandma, but then part of my brain's like, yeah, you got it from your grandma with all the other stuff. But then I'm pretty sure somebody gave this to me later. It just hit me right before I started. So this is Butterfly Fairies by Anchor. It's from 2002. It is all half stitch and back stitch. Somewhere it says, Steve O'Connell is the actual pattern creator for Anchor. I have never used Anchor before. Of course, it's Kit 8, it's super stiff, but it's really hard to see. The colors are so pale. If this was something that was more in my wheelhouse, when I was 14, I would have loved this. But I would have probably switched it out to like a light blue fabric to go behind the fairies, because this like pale pink on the 14 count cream Ada just barely shows. I know it'll get a little bit better when I put the back stitch in, but you can't even tell what the heck that is. I'm sure it will be very cute when it is done. And I know it's supposed to be subtle and kind of pencil sketchy. Not really my bag, but I had it and I needed something for a start. And I was like, I can't do all of the tiny kits. So I added this one. Plus, it's good practice for back stitching. And it's a different style and technique, so I thought it would build my skills. And then I don't know what I'll do with it. Maybe I'll attach it to a bag. Maybe I'll give it away. I don't know. I didn't bother to make a working copy. The chart is kind of atrocious to work with. But, you know, again, working on some different skills. All right, I started that on the 19th. It is all 10 stitch. It's 2/1. And as I said, I thought at first I had inherited it from my grandma, but I think somebody just gave it to me. They found it at a thrift store or something. My next new start is this Smell the Roses kit from Cross Stitch magazine. I started this on the 20th. Or excuse me, this was also started on the 19th. The designer is April Rose. It again is on 14 count Aida, 2/1. And there are only 9 colors in this. Ooh, let's do that. Ooh, there we go, that's better. So just a little start. I have to, for it to count for the May Mayhem for fandom, oops, sorry about the crinkles. I have to get 200 stitches. So for like the fairies, I had to do like 400 stitches because it's all 10 stitch. So for them to count it, I have to do twice as many. So I'm actually kind of regretting that 3 of the projects I picked for my May Mayhem were black work because I have to do twice as many stitches as anything else. Again, the little kits, they're great for like gifts or cards or, you know, things like that if you're looking for something for somebody at work. Excuse me, I got a soda, and so I just had to pop the can. I actually find the sound of soda can popping really satisfying, but I know it annoys some people. Next, on the 20th, I started, after a long, long wait, What Lies Beneath by Charting Creations. Here it is. It is on blue paper, so I don't know how hard that is for you to see. It is gorgeous. The artwork is by Dakota Detweiler, I think is how you say it. It has 108 colors. It is 680 by 850. We love a good nautical thing around here. We love a good kaiju. We love octopus or octopi. We love sea monsters, not in the water actually, but oh, he's so cool. And then he turns into an island. And this is my start. I'm doing it on a 32 count white linen. Excuse me, 1/1. And I was going to start in the top left corner, which I did, but this is not the very top left corner because Michael's was out of 798, and this thing needs 4 skeins of it, and that is what is up in this very big top corner here. So what I did is I found one of the blues in the corner that I could count reasonably from the corner, and I started with that color. So I got my 200 stitches in, very teeny tiny little stitches, so adorable. And I'm doing a corner start. I am using Pattern Keeper for this one. And right now it doesn't have its own project bag because I was making a project bag last time and I got frustrated because I cut the outer fabric and the excuse me, I cut those right, but what happened is that the bottom of the inner fabric for the project bag, I cut it 1 inch too short, and I have not wanted to go back, and all I have to do is trim down the bottom of the interface, or not the interfacing, the outer fabric and the vinyl 1 inch, and I haven't wanted to be bothered. Honestly, I've had tons of grading to do, last minute grading. Mostly my fault, not the kids' fault this time. There were some big projects that I had to finish grading. I still need to, but I've got almost everything done. Got one more project that should be, the 9th grader should be done with Tuesday, tomorrow or Wednesday. That's the last thing I'm grading for the year. I told them no corrections or late work after Wednesday. My biology students, there's a few of them who didn't finish our last major project. So they'll have to do that this week. And then, I just want to be done with grading for a while. And then, of course, I'm doing summer school, so I'll still have to grade stuff. But my goal is to try to get all my grading done before my half day, and then I can just clean out my room, get it ready for the next teacher, get all my personal stuff out of there, put it in my collab space. And yes, I'm rabbiting, a little bit squirreling, whatever you want to call it. But I have a lot on my mind, and it's hard to stay focused. It's one reason I like cross stitch, as long as it's not too complicated. I can think about other things while I do it, or I can super hyper focus on it and push the world away. So it works for both things. I do like to get to chat with people while I stitch, so it is nice to have stuff that I don't need to think about too much. All right, so now I have my Woodland Friends kit. This is what they are going to look like. They are so cute. I actually have a coworker who is obsessed with owls. I will not finish this before the end of the school year, though. I started this on the 21st. It is by Star Jam for Kids. It was another World of Cross Stitching kit. The only problem I have with some of these kits is you've got like cream and peach, and sometimes the different shades of cream and peach look a ton alike, so it makes it hard to figure out which color is which. And I actually started entering the wrong colors in these a couple of times. Each one of these is 28 by 28. I started on the 21st. There are 14 count Ada, and there are 19 colors. Now, usually when I do these, I cut the fabric apart, and I do them one at a time. But because of the color issue, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start them all and work through one color and try to get rid of the colors. So they had it all folded in threes in the kit. So I just centered them on each third of the fabric. There's the little owl face. I don't know if it's cute or creepy. Here is part of the deer. He is a little bit creepy. He's got some blush on his cheeks there, but no eyeballs. And then that's the little, I think it's a squirrel. Yeah. And then there's the little squirrel guy. So I'm just working my way through each color, and as I finish up the colors, I am disposing of the extra thread in my Ort thing. So I started this at the beginning of 2023, and it will probably be almost totally full at the end of this year. I like the striation. You can see some of my colorful fabric, and if I had thread that shreds any of my things, my Orts go in here. I actually finally had somebody, I was watching a Stitch in the Matrix, and she finally explained to me why we call them Orts. Like, she wasn't explaining to me personally, but Wendy actually said what Ort stands for, because for me, an Ort is a space thing. It's old random threads, or old ragged threads. I was like, I didn't know that that's what that stood for. So, yeah, those are my old ragged threads. And yeah, I have another one that I filled up over the course of 2 years, and I put some stickers on it to say what time it came from. I will probably end up using them as like bookends or something like that, or weights for something. Ooh, wait, why haven't I been doing that? They would make excellent weights when I'm cutting fabric to keep the fabric from moving. That might make it easier. I know they're really big though. Okay, so next start for you is Kitty Came Back by Haunted Frames. I started this on the 22nd. It is on fabric that's about 25 count. I ice dyed it, so I think that might have changed the count a little bit. I'm doing it 2/1, and it is 15 colors. And I know with 25 count, sometimes 2/1 can be a bit tight. I thought about doing it 1/1, but the fabric's really dark, which is what I wanted, because I want it to be a little bit spooky. But I was afraid that with the light colors, that if I did 1/1, you would get a lot of bleed through of the background fabric. So here is my, and this was one piece. And what I did is when I started this, I knew both of these projects would fit on here easily. So I literally just took the fabric that I had serged, or it's not really serged, but, and did it. So here's the little kitty paw. If you haven't seen these, they're little it's a little kitty paw coming out of a grave with a gravestone, and there'll be a kitty ghost. I am making this for my kid for a memorial for her cat. So, Fusa, which was a cat that we had a friend who was moving to Canada. They couldn't afford the kenneling fee, you know, because you have to leave. They don't let them in. Sorry, the kitties are on the tripod. They don't let animals in without a quarantine period to keep the animals that are already in Canada healthy. She couldn't afford that whole process, so she looked for a home. We got the cat when my kid was really little. In fact, we already had another cat, and we couldn't have two because of our lease at the time. So I asked my mom to take my cat, so that, which broke my heart. Or no, wait, that was a different time. That was a different, but anyway, we took in the cat, and it became our kid's cat from the time she was little, and the kitty passed away a few years ago. She was very old. I mean, I don't even know how old she was, because she was a few years old when we got her. So that was like my kid's pet for her most of her life. And so that is a memorial piece to the cat. And my second one is Puppy Comeback. I started this on the 23rd. It is also by Haunted Frames, and I'm actually going to give this to my child as well. This is a memorial piece for our dog Jester, and I bought it before he passed because we knew it was coming. This is on the other half of the ice dyed fabric. It's also on 25 count. I'm also doing it 2/1. This one only has 14 colors, and there is the puppy paw. My hardest decision was trying to figure out which side of the fabric and which direction I wanted it to go for the modeling. For both of these pieces, I was like flipping the fabric over, back and forth, turning it upside down, trying to decide which way I wanted it to get the most effect, the preferred effect. So there's the little puppy paw, and on the gravestone there's like a blank name spot on this one. I'm trying to decide if I want to fit the animals' names in there. It would have to be just straight backstitch, but I will decide that when I get there. But there is the beginning of the little puppy paw. It is going to be mostly solid, so right now the little light green looks like it's blending in too much, but that'll get filled in around. It'll be fine. All right. It's been a long week, and it has been a long weekend. It's not been a bad weekend, just lots of grading. I've been burnt out on grading. Good news is this week, 5 years ago when I worked at the library here in town, at the school library, at the junior high, one of the junior highs, I lent a book to a teacher because she was doing a book group with some African-American girls. And I finally got it back in the inter-school mail, like, this week. I was so excited. And she sent this beautiful little handmade card, which I showed my husband, and when I was putting this beautiful little handmade card with a little ribbon on top back in the little envelope, the little ribbon pulled off because it got caught. So I'll have to glue that back on. But it was really nice to get the book back. All right. Oh, yeah, that's what I can talk about. I almost forgot that I'd finished a book. All right. This is how scrambled my brain is right now and burnt out, and I really need my summer, but I'm doing 2 sessions of summer school for the money. So summer school should be smaller classes and stuff, and it's only part day and 4 days a week, so hopefully I still get some recoup time. All right, next start is the Blackwork Sea Turtle by Fiona Baker. I'm so tired mentally that I can't keep anything in my head. I started this on the 24th of the month. It is from World of Cross Stitching, June 2024, issue 346. It is one color on 14 count navy Aida. Parts of it are 2/1 and parts of it are 1/1 depending on the directions. So here is my sea turtle. This is the beginning of a flipper. I did part of the back stitch for the, or I should say part of the outline. This is all back stitch. And then, yeah, I don't iron my fabric before I start on it. So the creases from all the time it was folded are still there. But that is the beginning of the sea turtle. And I have decided that what, ooh, why did I get so yellow all of a sudden? Sorry, there's, usually I have balancing light coming in from the window, but because it's cloudy outside, I don't have that today. I have decided that I am just going to get some more navy Aida and make the dolphin too. Why not? I'm honestly right now, I think out of the three that I've started, the octopus was the most difficult because of the pattern in it. And I'm really wishing I had started with the shark, which I will show you here in a second. Because to me, this shark design is easier than either the sea turtle or the octopus. And I'll explain here why in a minute when I show it to you. So this is the Blackwork Shark by Fiona Baker. I started this on the 25th. It is also World of Cross Stitching. Make sure, which way is it? Okay. So here is the shark, and this is the belly of the shark, the underside. So I don't know if you can see. Do you see the little, it's little squares with little like things sticking off of it. This was so easy. Oh wait, I have it upside down. I think. Yeah, that's right. This was so easy to count and keep track of where I was. I really wish I'd started with this one because this pattern's much easier for my brain to wrap around. Let's see if I can get it in there. And then the little tail with the square with the tail, each one of those was 5 stitches, so it was easy to count. It was easy for me to line up and see where I'm at. So this is all one section of 1/1, and then there's a little bit of like 2/1 here, and then there'll be some 2/1 down here. And it was just so easy to get started. I think once you get the hang, like, I shouldn't say get started. The stitching itself isn't hard, but because of the repeated patterns, sometimes it messes with my brain when I'm trying to count and follow it on the pattern. This was a much easier one for my brain to see on the pattern and transfer and keep, okay, because I could easily count, all right, I've got 2 squares in this row, I've got 3, you know, things like that. And I know technically black work is supposed to look exactly the same on the back. Mine doesn't. I'm not worried about it. I just make sure that when I carry my threads over the back that it's not going to be blatantly visible through the holes. I'm just doing it the way I would normally do back stitch. So I think once I get I think with these designs, these 3 Blackworks designs that I'm working on, I think the thing is that you find a place where you've got a good start. Like the shark's belly was super easy. It was time consuming because I had to be careful, and you have to do it so that it doesn't pull it funny and distort the things. And actually that Aida is not the straightest Aida I've ever seen. There's like spots where the holes don't stay in line. Anyway, but I think once you get a base where you can, like, a landmark, that's what I'm thinking of, a landmark where you can use it to go off of to keep track of the pattern. And I don't mean pattern in the written pattern that shows you what to stitch. I mean, they have repeating patterns in that to make the design, and sometimes they can be a little bit disorienting if they're a little bit more flowery, fancy. Like the shark, that part was super easy because it was a very simple repetitive pattern, easy to see where it went. The octopus, I think, has probably got the most complicated design of those three when it comes to elaborateness of the look of the stitches, and it sometimes throws me off in my counting. So there are a couple of spots where, especially in the octopus and the sea turtle, where it was supposed to be 1/1 and I accidentally did 2/1 or vice versa. But it's right where the two meet, so I don't think it'll be a huge deal. Excuse me. All right, those are all of my new starts. I have 2 more new starts to do in the next 5 days. I was going to do Kaiju Calvin, but we couldn't get that to work. That is still one of my planned 50 starts for my 50th birthday year. And I might do and one to grow on, because I don't know. For you younger kids, I don't think this is a thing anymore. But I used to get birthday spankings. They weren't hard. They were just light and playful. And then they'd give you one to grow on. So they give you an extra pop. I don't know if that was... I know it wasn't every family, but I know a lot of families did it when I was young. Which seems really weird to me now, but whatever. It was normal then. So I think maybe I will do a and one to grow on start. Because I had bought Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow and Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Maybe I should do a poll. Because I'm going to have to replace Calvin in my 50 starts. Do I want to do a poll, or do I just want to do Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow? I think I'm going to do Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. Then sometime this summer we'll get Wind Stitch. It's budgetary why we don't just get it now. Got to figure out best time to buy it. I hate spending the kind of money we're going to have to spend, even though it's not a huge amount in current economic times. And Target's getting too expensive. I shopped at Walmart for the first time in years yesterday for groceries, and it was so much significantly cheaper. And I hate the fact that I'm going to be shopping at Walmart just because financially it's the smartest thing to do right now. Because I hate Walmart, and I know Target's not great anymore either. But it's probably the cheapest place to get groceries, so that's what I'm going to have to start doing. But it's okay. Excuse me. It's been a rough morning emotionally with some of the news that's coming out, and I'm not dealing well, and I apologize. So, back to the stitching stuff. So I've got Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. I've got the fabric. I've got Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Got the fabric. I have... You know what? I'm going to do Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow to replace Kaiju Calvin for my May Mayhem. There was no list that I had to submit, so I can do that if I want to. And that's what I'll do for now. I do have another... I might do some bonus starts just because I want to. I am, after this month though, I am taking a little break from starting new projects, because when I finish my 2 projects the 2 new starts for this month, I will be at 43 new starts for the year. That means I only have 7 new starts for my 50 to go. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to count Frogwarts Year 6 as a new start, because it's all on one fabric. I was counting each of those as a separate project, even though they're on one paper, because I don't get them. They're not really a traditional stitch along, so I don't know. But I was also using it to pad my 50. But I don't think I need to do that, because I got that beautiful blue fabric with the white dots on it that I won. And I went through and I found a perfect Christmas pattern to put on that. And so I was thinking about starting that around Christmas. Whether I'll be up to starting anything when I'm back in school, I don't know. I mean, I'll want to start stuff, but I have a thing. I want to reorganize my patterns and how I'm storing them. I want to do some things to make everything a little bit more accessible this summer, in addition to super clean the house before school starts. But as you can see, my brain's all over the place. Okay, so I only have one WIP to show you because everything was a new start this week. Oh my God. I have been enjoying it, but at this point, I'm like so ready to be done with new starts for a few weeks. And get some actual progress on stuff. So, the WIP that I have for you is Mothra by Hexed Stitchcraft. I started this on April 26th. There are 9 colors. I'm doing it 2/1. It's on 14 count DMC fabric Sandstorm. This is a test stitch. And I've done over 1,000 stitches in this month. So what I've been doing for the last few days, since I had, I've been grading out my butt, and then I'll do my new start. My 200 stitches are 400 and something stitches, because then I have to have it by 2 for my black work, and I did 2 black works. And I admit I started 2 projects on the same day because I wasn't sure how long the black works would take me. And with working the 2 jobs and trying to fit it in and needing to grade, I was like, I gotta make sure I get everything done. All right, so this is Mothra. You can see I've got 2 more letters to go over here. I've got 1 segment of the wing. Let's turn it this way so the light hits it better. So this is, the pattern's gridded 5x5 instead of the traditional 10x10. And there's no overlap in the pattern, but it's pretty simple to read, and the grid is really well marked, so you can line them up pretty easy. She doesn't just, a lot of patterns, they'll just have the grid numbers on the top and the left. Hers is set up so that they're on the top, left, and right, so that when the 2 pages are next to each other, you can see it's 81, 81, like the bottom page on this one is 81. And then it says 81 on the both pages, so that the sides of the 2 pages that are next to each other, it has the numbers for all the major things. So that is my Mothra. Looking good. I think that this was a good fabric choice. I will gently wash this when I'm done, but I'm supposed to have this done at the end of May. So I will do one of my new starts after I finish some grading. Then for the rest of the night, I will work on this. And that's what I've done for the last couple of nights. And then I have 1 more new start for the month. And then I will concentrate on her until she is done. That's all I've got stitching-wise. Plans. Already talked about my 2 more starts for May Mayhem. Then I'm going to focus on finishing this. I got paid for another Shawshank Redemption sampler, so my next focus after that will be working on Shawshank. I'm going to go back to working on my scavenger hunts and maybe working on some of those weeklies. I can't double dip the weeklies with the scavenger hunts, so I've been skipping my weeklies this month in order to do the new starts. And I was doing pretty well using doing both, but the scavenger hunt goes till June 21st, and I have 6 prompts left that I committed to. One was the 500 fandom, one was 400 in the car, which I can use Shawshank for. It's nice and big. And then there were 2 more that I already agreed to, and then nobody has a swimming pool in my group. But they said I could use the empty one here in the apartment complex. So what I will probably do on days that in the morning that I don't have to do, I will pick a project, we'll go out there, do 100 stitches on it, bring it back inside, get another project, put 200 stitches in that one, because you can't use the same piece for all 5 prompts, so I will have to change. So that's probably what I will be doing the first week when I'm not working on getting financial aid, and applying for another college, and all of that jazz, and all the meetings. WIP Go. the numbers for June were called. They are 21 and 23. So for me, that means 2 days on Wisdom and 2 days on Cliffhanger. I still haven't done any of my days for May on Wisdom. So I still owe 2 days of WIP Go for this month, but that's okay. That is something else that I could take out to the pool. Although, let me see. Sorry, I'm getting my tablet because my other calendar is on my phone, which is what I'm filming with. I don't want to auto sync, thank you. All right, yeah, so next Saturday, I will probably spend some time out by the pool stitching before the hubby gets up and doing that. And I only have half of work on June 2nd, half a day. All right. The Frogworts boxes will be shipped in June sometime, so I'm excited. I'm hoping they get shipped a little bit earlier this year than they did last year. And I already talked about the fact that I only have, at the end of this month, I will only have 7 more starts to hit my goal of 50. Going back to the prompt. All right, so shout outs for people I've been watching on Flosstube. And again, my brain is fried, so excuse me. I will be looking at my notes. Just got caught up with the 310 Stitcher Jade. She has finished all the black in her Dragons of the Sabbat and is working on the blue dragon at the top. Let's see. Let's see if I can... I'm going to try to do this like other people do. Oh, I need... because I actually have Pattern Keeper. So for those of you who don't know, this is Dragons of the Sabbat. And Jade is working on this dragon up here. Oops. So now instead of just being all black, and it is looking beautiful. And it made me want to get back out on mine. And one of the weekly prompts for week 5 of May will work because it has something to do with space. And these represent the months and the alignments. And if you look, astrology signs, so they represent constellations. Ooh. All right. And she always talks about how slow she is, but I am amazed at all the progress she makes on her full coverage in just a month. Like, I get so much less stitching done than she does. So she's not as slow as she thinks. Also got caught up with the 2 crossed stitchers. That's Amy and Mary Lou. They just hit 1,000 subscribers. Congrats, ladies. They have a wide variety of projects. Their haul in their last video was ginormous. My gosh, ladies. I am jealous that you can do that. Also been watching Cross Stitch with Bex. She is on my team for the scavenger hunt, the Dr. Donna's. Really cute progress. She has a toddler, a little baby, and I am actually impressed with how much stitching she gets done with having a little kid and working. I didn't really get super obsessive into it until my kid was older, and so I didn't have that conflict. But yeah, wow, she does a great job with hers. She has a variety of stuff. She's still relatively new to Flosstube. Still a little bit nervous, which I still get nervous too, so it's okay. But check her out. Saw Jason's latest, Jason Cross Stitches. Great projects as always. And he has much more self-control than I do when it comes to starting new projects. Even though I'm kind of overwhelmed, I still want to start the new ones. Partly it's because I'm out of bags, and my husband was like, you have enough bags. You just need to finish something, which he's not wrong. But I still have 2 bags in progress, and part of me was like, I should do those before I film today. And then I was like, you know what? No, I need to film, upload it, and then I need to make sure that I get my grading done so that I just have cleanup grading to do this next week. Major project still working on. The kids are creating a 3D model of constellations to help them understand the distance in space and how far apart the stars are, even though they look kind of close together. So it's an interesting project. And then I'm hoping just to have a couple of days where I can just have a good time with my kiddos. We shall see, though. Also caught up with A Stitch in the Matrix. Wendy, great project. She's funny. She scrolls, her brain scrolls like me. She's got a Dalek project that's not available anymore, and I love Doctor Who. So, yeah, she's got similar interest in shows and stuff that I do. And then Stitching with Charlie. Charlie's birthday is either this week, it's coming up real soon, or it just happened. Sorry, Charlie, I can't remember exactly when your birthday is, but happy birthday, either early or late, or maybe right on time if you watch this today. I'm not sure. But Charlie is doing a nature-themed salve for her birthday. She doesn't have a hashtag for it, but I am going to join in with I'm not doing a new start just for her birthday. Sorry, Charlie. Sorry, child of the 80s. All I did was flash back to the old Starkiss tuna commercials. Sorry, Charlie. If you don't know, I'm sure the commercial is somewhere on the internet if you want to see it. Just had a moment of nostalgia and childhood joy. I thought it was hilarious when I was a kid. But I'm not starting anything new, but I have several nature-themed projects. And I will probably be joining along with one of those. I haven't decided which one yet. But, all right. So those are the people that I've been watching. I had a few new Flosstubers pop up, and it lingered long enough to do the autoplay thing. So I need to go back and watch them. But I've been trying to get caught up with all the people that I kind of know. And that's one of the things I want to do this summer. Is before my husband gets up, I will be trying to get in some exercise and then watch all the Flosstubes. And I know I won't get through all of them. I have 200 people on my subscription list. And I've got to figure out how to track who it is I really, really like. Make sure I remember who posts on what day so I know when to keep up with them. But I think once I'm back at school, I probably will get way behind again. But it's okay. It is kind of nice to watch. I have been letting it run while I grade papers. The grading I'm today, some of the kids did podcasts for their projects, so I will have to not while I grade those. But I've got everything but those projects graded that's been turned in. I have some messages I need to check. There's some paper stuff I need to check at work that I didn't bring home with me because I already graded. I just have to make sure it's in the grade book. And I am really ready to be done grading for the year. All right, so that's all the stitchy stuff. If that's all you wanted to see or hear about, I do have a couple of things I've been reading and watching that I'd like to share with you. And then I will let you go enjoy the rest of your Monday. We just recently watched The Pit. It was a medical drama starring Noah Wyle. And we learned that originally it was supposed to be a spinoff of ER. They asked Michael Crichton's wife, hey, we want to do this. Noah Wyle wants to redo his character from ER. We'd like your permission. She said no. They said okay. They redid the whole thing, changed the character, redid the premise of the show, and put it on anyway, and put it on air. And then she decided to sue. It is, I was looking for, occasionally I like a good medical drama, but I don't like it when they get too melodramatic. So, like the later seasons of ER, when my favorite characters were gone, I didn't really care about the melodrama anymore. Grey's Anatomy, some great stuff, but they get kind of soap opera-y, and at a certain point, I get tired of the soap opera crap. So Noah Wyle is playing this ER doctor, and that's like, he's an ER doctor. That's what he does for a living. So he's not a private practice. He's not a surgeon. He's an ER doctor. And he has some trauma in the ER related to COVID. Shocker. But the interesting thing about this, there are so many good people in it. Noah Wyle is probably the one that everybody knows by name, but there's like other people I recognize them, or one of the parents of one of the patients is she was in a lot of the Mike Flanagan miniseries that just happened. She's amazing. But this is set up a bit differently than other medical shows. It was so gripping. Like, we'd been watching listening to Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I do my Doctor Who watches for my stitching challenges. The thing is that I didn't want to watch anything else. Like, I didn't want to watch Doctor Who. I didn't want to listen to Dungeon Crawler Carl. It was so gripping. That's all I wanted to do until we finished the season. And then when the season was over, all I wanted to do was watch the next season. But it's not out yet. Like, and not many shows have hit me like that. Like, we watched The Bear, and it was really good. But it was a really downer. And we did not feel compelled to go back. Like, it was good, and we keep meaning to go back. But it's a hard watch in some ways, but it's excellent. But it did not make me just go, I can't watch anything else till I finish this. And again, I haven't told you how it's set up, because it's unique setup for a medical drama show. So the thing that is unique about The Pit, one, it is based in, The Pit is the real name of the ER in St. John's Hospital. Real hospital. Couple of things that are unique. One, majority of the drama in this show is the actual emergencies that they're dealing with. There's personal development. You get to know the characters. There's character stuff too. But it is mostly about just what they are dealing with in the ER and how they're having to deal with patients and everything like that. But the season is set up where each episode of the season is an hour of their shift. So you start at like 7 a.m. with Noah Wile's character coming in for his shift, and the doctor who's in charge of the ER for the night shift filling him in on what's going on in the ER and saying, this is what we're looking at, this is what you already have in the ER. We do get a bit of the drama of like the hospital isn't moving patients up to beds. So there are like ER patients who should be in hospital rooms, but they're in hallways and issues like that. And you got the corporate lady coming in talking about how they need to make it more profitable, and optics and customer satisfaction surveys and all that BS that comes with corporate run healthcare. Yay, America. But that's minimum. I do want to tell you though, if you are sensitive to mass shootings, I'm not a person for trigger warnings. I don't think we should avoid things that make us uncomfortable. I know in certain situations that is necessary, and I'm not saying if you have severe trauma and it's going to cause like a severe panic attack, but the only way to deal with things is to deal with them. But just in case this is one of the situations where it is going to set off severe trauma reaction, they do have to deal with a mass shooting towards the end of the season. And there's a whole other piece of that that plays into decisions that they made earlier. It is so good though. You don't see the mass shooting, you just see the aftermath so yeah. But if that is something that will cause you extreme emotional torment, I would say maybe not the show for you. But it was so good, and it dealt with so many social issues, and yeah, it was awesome, and the performances were fabulous. On the opposite end of the spectrum for things that I watched, we watched the Minecraft movie, or a Minecraft movie is what it's called. It's got Jack Black, Jason Momoa. Okay. It was all icing, no cake, as my husband said. The story is crap. It is absolute crap. But it was super fun to watch. Jack Black is basically an 8-year-old boy the whole movie. I mean, his character's an adult, but he's got like 8-year-old. And the juxtaposition of the kind of characters that Jason Momoa usually plays, you know, the strong hero, competent guy, he is the opposite of that in this. And Jack Black is not successful in our world, really, but super successful when he gets sucked into the Minecraft world as an adult. And then there's a little boy and his sister who just lost their mom. She's now his caregiver, but she's like barely 18. She's struggling with that, but they get sucked into the Minecraft world and adventures ensue, and there's so many silly gags, and there is some adult humor, like it's subtle adult humor. The movie was definitely made for 10-year-old boys, but there are some jokes in there. So there's a scene, and I don't want to give away the scene, but my favorite line from the movie, and every time I think of it, I start cracking up. Jack Black says this to Jason Momoa. "Relax. Let my hips guide you." And I so want to take it and make that a quote and then have the image that goes with it in a sampler style and turn it into a cross-stitch pattern because it cracks me up every time. So if you're looking for something super silly to just escape the idiocracy that we're in right now, I recommend that. Another movie that we watched was Summer of '69 with Chloe Fineman and Sam Morelos, I think is how you say her name. And it is, if you like Chloe Fineman's sense of humor in her SNL sketches, I recommend this for you. It's kind of silly. It's a little, I don't know how to explain it. But if you're not a fan of Chloe Fineman's humor, I would say skip it, but it was a fun movie. So it is the story of this really kind of shy girl in 1969. She has a crush on this boy, and he's finally broken up with his long-term girlfriend. And she's decided she wants to express her interest in him and have sex with him. And she thinks, because she's heard things about him, and she thinks that's the only way she'll get his attention. So her parents go away on a trip, and she's got some money. And so she goes looking for someone to give her advice because she's a very awkward, shy kind of person. And so she's walking around and she finds a strip joint. And she goes in the strip joint and she sees Chloe's character dancing at the strip joint. And she's enamored. Not in love with her enamored, but just like the power, the confidence, it's nothing she's ever seen before. And it's just, she gets this sense of like female power and stuff from this lady, and like the confidence that she would like to have it as a woman. And so she hires her to teach her how to have sex and how to attract boys. And it is more about their developing relationship and her realizing what she really needs. And then it turns out the boy liked her. I mean, it's kind of a lame plot in some ways, but not a shocker that, you know, there's hints very early in the movie that no, he actually likes the girl that is into him. So it is a really funny comedy. We have returned to listening to Dungeon Crawler Carl. I finished the 6 about the women astronauts by Lauren Crash. I'll have to look up how to spell her last name. It was very interesting. The only name I ever remember from those ladies is Sally Ride, which is brought up in the book, actually. I didn't know a lot of the background stuff about NASA, even though I lived in the area. It finishes on the Challenger disaster and how that changed the space program again. It does talk about Mae Jemison joining. And the female astronauts' personal lives. I admit, when we got to the part about Challenger, that one was a little tough. That is the first national disaster that I remember. When I was little, I was in elementary school. It was like right before I went to middle school, because it was like 86. I was walking down the hall. We were going between classes or to, like PE. I don't remember, lunch or PE, somewhere. We were going from our classroom to PE. And the teacher's lounge was on the way. And I remember looking, and I was walking by the teacher's lounge, and they had the door open because it was way back when, and teachers would frequently have the door open. And then the news on because the shuttle was being launched, right? Perfectly reasonable thing to be watching. And my husband's class was actually sitting down and watching the launch. And I glanced over on the TV, and I saw the Challenger explode as I walked past the teacher's lounge. That is my distinct memory of the Challenger explosion. And it was the first time they had a civilian that did not have another job. So that wasn't a mission specialist. They were just there to try to promote the idea that the space shuttle was like a truck to space. So that is like the first time I really remember something like that happening. And I learned so many details about what happened in NASA after that, how it changed the space shuttle program, what the investigation was like. So if you are not familiar, I'm not going to get into more details because back then parents did not share that kind of news with their kids, and we didn't have the 24-hour news cycle like we do now. So people didn't just sit and watch it in front of their kids. You just got the highlights at the major news things, like the 7 and 10 kind of stuff, or the morning news. So it was really interesting to hear about what it was like to be a woman in the space program, what kind of challenges they faced, all that stuff. So if you are interested in space exploration history, women's history, etc., I recommend you check that one out. That's all I got for you today. I can't believe this took an hour. It's still kind of gray outside. The kitty is cuddled up on my coat to take a nap. It was like 40 something degrees. Shortly it'll be in the 70s, but right now it's a little chilly. I hope you find some joy. I hope you don't get too stressed out with world events. May today be kinder to you than yesterday, and tomorrow be kinder to you today. Have a great week, and I hope you enjoy your stitching time. See you later. Bye.